Believe it or not, no black paint straight from the tube was used to create these ravens, and that's part of the magic. In this video, I'll be revealing all of the secrets behind this acrylic sketchbook entry, including a hidden red background, mixing your own blacks, and glazing until it glows. Let's get started. I'm going to start by grabbing my sketchbook, which is the Strathmore Watercolor Journal. I've been painting in this book for nearly 4 years now, and I'm finally about halfway through. Let's tape the edges, protect the opposite page, then prime with gesso and tone the paper with Quinacridone red. That red ground is the secret to paintings that glow. It stays visible through every transparent layer, warming everything from underneath. Next, we'll add the drawing. I usually sketch mine in directly with Burnt Umber Paint, but as you can see, I make mistakes, so I keep wet Q-tips handy to erase them. If you prefer drawing with a colored pencil first, you absolutely can, but I find sketching with paint to be a good exercise in letting go of perfectionism. Even though my drawing is rough, I can still use this as an opportunity to add some extra paint into the shadows, which we will need to build dimension. Then it's time for the first background layer. My colors for this painting are Quinacridone Crimson, Cadmium Yellow Medium, Ultramarine Blue, Burnt Umber, and Titanium White. To deepen my yellow, I added some purple, which is its complementary opposite, or in this case, some red and blue. I premixed all my colors, then worked quickly between them to create the first layer. The first layer is always going to look streaky, and since we're working on a colored ground, it'll dry even darker than you think. Remember, acrylic paintings come together through layers, so it's normal if your first layer does not look very good. We're going to let that dry fully and go straight back in while we still have the same colors on our palette. The second layer builds opacity, which makes the same colors appear brighter. However, I find that even with 2 layers, I can still see the red underneath, which I actually love. Blending in the second layer is also so much easier, so here's where you're going to want to feather between your colors to get a soft gradient. Before we move on to the ravens, if you're finding this useful, I've written a free ebook on acrylic painting that you can download in the description below. It's 36 pages long, full of everything you need to get started, and as I mentioned, completely free. As promised, we are not going to be using black from the tube to paint these ravens. Instead, I'm going to mix together ultramarine blue and burnt umber, which creates a dark translucent color that looks black, but still allows that red to shine through. This is what's called glazing, and it's what gives this painting that inner glow. But be prepared, this requires patience because we're going to be building the painting layer by layer. This will make your work pop off the page, but it does take some faith in the process. As we start to introduce some darker midtones, you may be wondering why I'm using transparent glazes instead of just introducing an opaque black straight from the tube. Even though that would be faster, it would also flatten the ravens, and I'd lose all that beautiful red warmth underneath. For me, it's always worth the extra time on techniques that make the painting better, even though I often don't want to do it. Now, what this does mean is that your painting is going to have to go through an ugly stage, so be prepared. What you're seeing now is still just the foundation. Since we're mixing our own black, we can also tilt our mix to be warm or cool. Want to cool your shadows down? Add more ultramarine. Want to show some warmth or bring them forward? Add more burnt umber. This means that we're not only working with a range of values, we're also working with a range of color temperatures, using warms and cools to add more dimension to the subject. This continues even as we start to add in more details and midtones. The eyes of the ravens are warm, while their beaks are cool. The feathers in shadow have blue highlights, while the feathers in sunlight have a warm reddish-brown glow. Now, hopefully at this point, you can really see how that red colored ground is adding so much to the painting. It's creating warmth depth, and harmony since everything is resting on the same color, and it's also helping me read my values. If my highlights had been painted on a white background, they would have seemed dark by comparison, but by building on red, they feel just right. In darker paintings, white should be used sparingly, if at all. The only place that I have pure white is in the raven's eyes, which is where I want the viewer to look first, not where the sun is striking the feathers. As viewers, we tend to focus on wherever the light contrast is the strongest, so unless you want to make the back of your raven the star of the painting, keep your highlights there soft and subtle. As we move on to the stone wall where the ravens are perched, I'm going to give you a rule I have for my sketchbooks. When in doubt, think of your brushwork as a suggestion, not a statement. This means that you don't have to paint every single detail, especially when the area you're painting isn't even the focal point. So am I going to paint every little crack and detail in this wall? No. Am I going to focus on the lighting? Yes. The lighting has to make sense in order for the painting to work, so we'll add an orange highlight along the edge of the wall and some shadow underneath the ravens. Now that most of the painting is in, let's do a final pass and render some of the details on the ravens. That means brightening a few sections like the beaks and the highlights and darkening some shadows. Even now, I can still see that red shining through some of our mixed blacks, so let that breathe and don't smother the glow. And when you're ready, you can take off the tape for the final reveal. And here it is, the final spread. I can't lie, this is probably my new favorite sketchbook entry, and I love that both works in this spread were painted with only 5 colors and no black. If you enjoyed this video, I have an entire playlist of sketchbook tutorials, as well as my top 5 acrylic color mixing mistakes and how to fix them. Don't forget to grab your free ebook on acrylics, and happy painting!